Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Whatever happened to land submarines? You know, the type of machines that go underground instead of underwater. What do you mean these things don't exist? You forgot what channel you're watching. That's right, on this episode of Found and Explained, we're going to be going underground into the history of subterranean warfare and how the Cold War's favorite bad guys developed an actual land submarine that was designed to wipe New York City off the map. And yes, this bad boy was nuclear powered. Meet the incredible land submarine, the Soviet battle mole, the Subterrane. Love aviation? Then come and check out our aviation news channel, Aviation Station. Every day, new videos. Now, I can hear you all writing in the comments. Technically, a submarine is specific for water, as it's in the name, marine, and therefore a land submarine would actually be called a subterrane. Or in Russian, a rough translation what they called it was underground boat. This is specifically a type of vehicle designed to navigate beneath the Earth's surface, like how a submarine traverses underwater. It would achieve this by either employing mechanical drilling methods or by utilizing a heat-based approach to melt its path forward, with the Russians investing in the first design and the Americans in the second. Despite being more popular in fiction before World War II, practical thermal designs and real-world examples of subterranes began to emerge during the latter half of the 20th century. After all, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. Our first real example was in the 1930s, with the earliest Soviet attempt at this concept being led by engineer Alexander Tupolev. And this is where the term underground boat originated. This unique vehicle was operated by a single person who relied on electrical cables dragged behind it for power. The idea was to venture deep underground, explore until it found an oil deposit, and then pull a pipeline back up to the surface. Unfortunately, this prototype could only manage a meager 12 meters before it broke down, leading to the abandonment of the project. But after World War II, Nikita Khrushchev got fascinated with developing unconventional systems. And they got this idea by, you guessed it, the Nazis. The Soviets had gotten hold of German blueprints for a subterrane, and even though it was never constructed, it was initially meant to transport a crew of 5 underneath the English Channel, tunnel right below a chosen target, and then plant a massive bomb. Whilst this idea was utterly impractical, Khrushchev revisited it in the 1960s with the introduction of nuclear reactors. The new plan involved tunneling to an American underground missile facility and command posts without detection, and then demolishing them from underneath. This concept became known as the Battle Mole. It had a crew of 5, 15 armed soldiers in transport, and a ton of explosives. It would use a standard cutting head powered by a nuclear reactor's electricity. Its speed was estimated to be around 7 kilometers per hour, which was about as fast as a brisk walk. The testing phase, which is believed to have taken place in 1964, although this is a big rumor, was a huge success. The giant machine was apparently vanishing into the ground and operating at a fantastic speed and getting many Soviet generals very excited. But it was actually the second test a few weeks later that was its undoing. Apparently, this time the vehicle achieved an impressive feat of covering a distance of 10 kilometers at remarkable speed. It navigated through various different types of solid rock, fractured rock, sand, and gravel, and as it tunneled, it melted those materials around it, creating a solid and incredible robust tunnel without any debris in its wake. However, tragedy struck in a catastrophic manner. According to accounts, deep underground, the vehicle met a devastating end, erupting into a massive thermonuclear fireball. This event resulted in the vaporization of its commander and the entire crew, and the disaster led to the complete collapse of the tunnel. Subsequently, any attempt to recover the vehicle's remains was abandoned, effectively marking the end of the program. But did this actually happen, or was this just a crazy Cold War rumor? Honestly, I don't know why we don't see this nuclear drilling technology more commonplace. Someone like Elon Musk could easily use it in his business, the Boring Company, and it could easily revolutionize subterranean construction, let alone its military uses. Clearly, whoever invented this technology in the Soviet Union didn't get the word out. They should have used Squarespace. But hold on, don't skip this part as I'll have some sneak peeks for future videos coming soon on the channel. You see, Squarespace starts with the best-in-class website template, and you can customize every design detail with reimagined drag-and-drop technology for desktop and mobile, so you don't have to go ahead and make two different websites. This is all because of the Fluid engine, built in and ready to go on any new Squarespace site. But that's not all. You see, every one of these websites also has a built-in shop to start selling on e-commerce right away, and you can also use the campaign marketing tools to start driving business instantly. Seriously, Squarespace is the secret weapon that I use for Found and Explained at www.foundandexplained.shop. Thanks Squarespace for powering my merch store. So drill down into your business, support the channel, and see more videos just like this, and also get 10% off your first set on domain. Go to www.squarespace.com/found. That's right, next time you need a website, think of my little channel and click that link, and it'll be a really big support. Thank you so much for everybody who clicks down below. Fighting underground is actually not a new thing. Records from ancient Greece show many battles and sieges won by sappers undermining the enemy fortifications. Working in secret, these ancient engineers would dig at night and either come up on the inside of enemy walls or by drilling into the fortifications themselves to bring them down. But all of this got a big leap forward with the invention of everyone's favorite black powder, TNT. With explosives, tunneling became a major fear of the enemy, with engineers digging deep underneath enemy lines and even their headquarters, filling the shaft with explosives and then detonating. This was used with huge effect in World War I, with static trench warfare painting the perfect playground for tunneling. One notorious example was the Allied offensive in Messines. Over the following 5 months, an extensive network of tunnels stretching more than 8,000 meters, 26,000 feet for my American viewers, was painstakingly excavated. A substantial amount of explosives weighing around 450 to 600 tons was strategically positioned. The synchronized detonation of these mines occurred precisely at 3:10 a.m. on June 7, 1917, resulting in a cataclysmic explosion that took 10,000 lives. The concussive force was so immense that it resonated windows as far away as London due to its deafening sound. The near-simultaneous detonations, which generated 19 substantial craters, made this event one of the most colossal non-nuclear explosions in record history. But World War I also saw the invention of another type of warfare that would change the game: tanks. Tunnel engineers saw these new lumbering beasts and thought to themselves, why not combine them together? And it's exactly what our heroes of the story, the Soviet Union, did. So in this story, there are some pretty crazy things happening, apart from the apparent lack of evidence that this machine ever existed. First of all, you would need a colossal amount of power to melt rock. This would be a giant nuclear engine, so to speak, bigger than a nuclear reactor and likely bigger than a nuclear power station. Hardly something that wouldn't go unnoticed in enemy territory if you were planning to use this machine offensively. But then even if you had a nuclear reactor, like the ones in submarines, and it got hot enough to melt rock super fast, there would also be a big problem: heat management. You see, there would be no way to cool down the machine or the people inside, because they would be stuck in a tunnel of molten rock with nowhere for the heat to go. Plus, when you melt rock to make a tunnel, the melted stuff has to go somewhere. It can't just disappear, right? Heat management is also a huge problem with subway stations in New York and London. In fact, London, the tube stations have slowly been heating up over the decades, and the heat has never gone away, something that would happen on orders of magnitude greater with our Soviet battle mole. And then we are also led to believe that on the second test, the whole thing had a nuclear meltdown and collapsed the entire tunnel, vaporizing the commander. Pretty dramatic stuff, right? Except that's not really how nuclear meltdowns work. You see, nuclear reactors don't do this when they explode. They have a steam explosion that's a lot slower with fire and brimstone, but not like an explosive charge of a bomb going off, and definitely not enough to completely destroy a 10-kilometer tunnel. And it's that note that I find hardest to believe. I can't believe that the Soviets, having made this miracle machine that could dig tunnels for infrastructure or for combat, would just abandon it after a simple explosion. How many test flights have we seen in the past of aircraft being rejigged after a big error? Why don't they just dig it up, fix the flaws, and rebuild it? After all, it's not like the Americans stopped with their attempts. Surprisingly, while the Soviet story may be just a pile of dirt, the American attempts are actually a lot more concrete under what is known as the Los Alamos Subterrane Program. The program would actually produce hundreds of designs, with the simplest being small probes called geoprospectors that could look underground for resources. These little probes were only about 1 foot in width, but would be made of tungsten to withstand the searing hot temperatures that would come from its tip. You see, they would use the ability to melt its way through the rock of around about 0.5 millimeter per second and leave behind a tunnel lined in glass that samples could be taken out of. Several of these small-scale subterranes were based on that fundamental design, and they were constructed and successfully put to the test. But that's not all. The Americans also experimented with bigger ideas. A huge 6-meter machine was combined with both the nuclear cutting with the drill, having a blade on it that heated the rock as it turned. It was proposed to be used for all sorts of engineering concepts, but you know the military applications were not far away. For the Americans, the tech was proven, but there was just no use case for it. In the end, it seems that a water submarine just made a ton more sense. This video was produced in part with research done by the website Skeptoid. Check them out, they're pretty great. And if you want to see more videos just like this one, then click that subscribe button and leave a like and let me know in the comments what I should do next.